I've been asked to address the issue of Islam tonight and tomorrow evening, and no doubt a bit on Sunday morning. I don't know how many of you read the Times. Yesterday there was a rather intriguing two-page article in the Times, and essentially it had to do with the state of the Christian faith within the UK, but not just the Christian faith, it also touched on other religions, Hinduism, and not least Islam. The figures given for Christianity is rather interesting. It suggested that at this moment in time, there are around about 4 million Christians that would go to church. You know, they tend to say on a given Sunday, so you have a measure of religiosity, so to speak. So you've got about 4 million or so. But then they postulated what might be the situation, say, in 2050. And they came to the conclusion, and they were somewhat precise, which always beggars, leaves me asking questions. If you're talking so many years down the road, how can it be so precise? But they concluded that there are going to be about 899,000 Christians. Effectively, a collapse of Christianity within the UK. They then broke down the various church denominations. The Anglican, perhaps suffering most, virtually decimated. They went through the Catholics, the Methodists, the Free Churches, etc., and painted a rather sorry picture of a church in seemingly terminal decline. And effectively they're arguing we're living in the last days of Christianity in these islands of ours. They then went on to look at Islam, and they came up with the suggestion that thinking of committed Muslims today, round about 1 million, they then went on to suggest by 2035 there'll be 1.96 million, and then at 2050, 2.66 million committed Muslims. And putting the two together, that is the decline of Christianity, the increase of Islam, and they have this in a graph form as well. They pinpointed the date when one will supersede the other. And I thought that would make a rather interesting introduction to the subject before us, because we are thinking not just of Islam as a religion, as an ideology, but the context in which Islam now finds itself. And that context is increasingly that of a post-Christian context. I personally do accept the nature of a secular society. I personally am one who accepts the idea of a secular space where all religions and none, all peoples and none can exist within those commonalities, which allows for the freedoms which we have today, where none can be ridiculed and none can be oppressed. But I would argue that that state of secularity has gone much further, and what we have seen is not just secularism, but secular humanism. And secular humanism has effectively eroded Christian belief, and that has created a vacuum within our society. So the first challenge I would say that we have faced, which has led to where we are, has been the whole development of secularism, leading ultimately to secular humanism. But I would argue this, that in that space which now exists, very interesting enough, our society has allowed Islam to fill that space.